There we are. We are now live. So yeah, I was able to share this a little bit. I can't. I wasn't able to share it as wide or as broad as I want to because Facebook's had me on restriction for it'll after tonight. I should be free. I can start sharing and posting and responding in other groups, but they've had me on restriction for a week. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah, all because I've been sharing different links around. I guess maybe they consider it as spam, or somebody either that somebody may have reported me. I don't know. Um, but this is one of the ways I will use for promoting and advertising for the event. Like what I have going on here, and especially the little broadcast that's going across the bottom of the screen. So far we have all right. Our viewers are slowly jumping on. I see two on there right now that are showing. If there's people on YouTube, sometimes it takes a little bit for them to show up because we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook.
Cool.
So now, are you on your phone or are you on a laptop?
Laptop.
Oh, okay. So I'm not sure if, but on your end, does it show you the comments? Is there a section on your end that shows you comments by any chance?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay. Because I know Nikki, it shows for her if she can see any comments that pop up.
Yeah, Nick
But
is a pro on that.
what's that?
Nick is a pro on that.
Yeah, I think. Well, what it is, you may have to set up. I don't know. You may have to set up your own profile on Streamyard. It's free to do it, but for some reason I don't know. I know she's on the because she started doing her and her sister started doing her sister chat. It's called. That's a new thing that her and her sister do, and she did it for the first time. I forget what day it was. It was earlier this week, and oh, it was actually Sunday night, I believe. It was Sunday night because I was off Monday. So she did it Sunday night, and it went pretty well. She had a good time doing it. Her and her sister. I think her sister lives in Oklahoma. I could be wrong, but so all right, all right. We got 14 people on there so far. We got people in the comments chat there jumping on. So hey, you guys, if you guys are just now jumping on, please feel free to share this around. I did some sharing, however, I am a little limited on sharing, so I do appreciate if you do help share this around. The audience is growing, and so as you guys see, I'm promoting. I got the online flyer posted on the screen. For those who order T-shirts, you guys should be able to get your shirts within 2 weeks. The T-shirts are now over. And as of the tickets, a lot of people, we had 60 tickets sold on the early bird special. Now they go up to regular price. The early bird specials were $10. Now tickets are $20. That's why I've been pushing and pushing and pushing the early bird special tickets. So, and there's a message from Buck and I right there. He said he'll have to make it another time. So, so yeah. And then we'll see what. Let me see. Yeah, Christy hasn't looked at her thing. Uh, oh, hold on. All right. All right. Well, let me jump this off. I'll be watching the live chat the best I can. So if you guys have questions, please feel free to throw questions out tonight. Um, we got Baldemar with us tonight, and it's been a little while since we've had Baldemar with us, and I'm going to put Baldemar on the spot. So Baldemar, I know you've been a busy man, and like to see what you've been up to. If you have anything you want to share with us, please feel free to.
Okay.
Um,
There's been a few sightings around B County. Early one was like 3 weeks ago,
really?
and yeah, and it's been very active out here. Some person actually saw it. down in the almost downtown Urbana, and 3 blocks up the road. They said, and we're trying to get some more information, but some people just don't want to talk. And then they actually saw it again. They actually saw another one in Bettis, Texas, that was actually 6 miles away, and they saw that in some county road. Some 4 oilfield workers actually saw it standing by a gate, and they were driving a little bit too fast. But one guy really had a real good look at it, and the other guys were just dozing off and sleeping. But one guy really just get a real good look at it. He's just tall, black, and hairy. So that's the way they describe it here. There was another sighting that was actually between Karnes City and Runge, and people who know about that area is basically again South Central Texas area, and they actually saw it standing by a gate also, pretty close as the road, pretty close to San Antonio River. So again, it's been very active out here.
Yeah, have any of these sightings been investigated?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I,
The thing
I,
is, again, but I went out there, and I went out there. I went over there and actually looked at the area what they actually said that it was at, and what they have there is basically close to an old abandoned railroad track. It's excellent for you to hide. There's just an old abandoned railroad track that runs through B County. And again, that's one of that's a way to travel. One of the ways that they travel. They actually travel the pipelines and things like that because we got so many of them. Um, so I
yeah.
so I had a little idea since there've been so many sightings, and we actually put together in the we're in the spare of the moment thing. We actually got a program going where we're gonna have like a Bigfoot meeting slash little event where people could actually talk about their encounters, stuff that happened to them. We're gonna have cast. We're gonna have Mr. Morley show up. We're gonna have some other Bigfoot researchers all come up, and and it's going to be held at the Normanna Fire Department. So this thing all got put together in less than a week, and it's going to be on February the 8th from 11 to 5.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool. Just curious. Yeah, railroads. I've always found railroads, even if they're active or not. I always believed, in my own opinion, that railroad tracks and stuff were easy access, easy paths to travel. Um, like down in Texas, see this. I'm asking because I'm not familiar with the area, and you said this is an old abandoned railroad.
Right.
Um, is the area? Is it? Would you consider it exposed, or is there a lot of cover along this area?
A lot of cover, and actually, too, is you actually notice that there's some times where there's creeks and things like that. They would have a structure built there. And
Oh, nice.
what an excellent place to have like a little miniature cave, opened up on both sides. You could be protected by the rain there and everything. So these things are still up. The only thing missing are just the rails and the slats, but everything
Mm,
else is still there.
okay. We have a question right there for you from Marcella. Baldemar, what's the oddest thing you have come across while scouting?
Oddest thing that I ever come across scouting. Oh, wow. I would say this year, it was, no, last year, where I actually found a twisted tree that was actually a Wisace. And that was the very first time that I ever saw a twist with an arch on it, and Bigfoot
Hmm.
related. And then when Mr. Morley came down, he actually showed me some things that I've never. There was a tree, maybe a little sapling, maybe the size of my finger, maybe even thinner. And what it did was it actually arched over and actually stood into a little tree, and it was just stuck like that.
Hmm.
And that was odd. And then I started looking around there, and I saw other ones like that. And Mr. Morley was telling me, well, you know what? That's actually Bigfoot related. These are how they make their arches. Don't necessarily have to be a big arch, but but it's basically a marker. And I think that's the oddest thing that I came across. I found old farmhouses and things like that, and nothing Bigfoot related. Uh, Caves that have been collapsed and things like that. So if you call that odd, so
I would consider that odd. Yeah, does Texas? I mean, considering Texas is a lot of flat land on the most part, right? And so, are caves very rare down around that area?
oh no, there are quite a bit of them down here. There was an old man that he lived in a cave between Normanna and Pettis area. An old man lived there by the name of Pappy Joe, and to this day, I don't even know where that cave is at. So, mhm.
Cool. All right, I see. Zach jumped on here with us. I asked Zach earlier if he was going to join, if he wanted to join us, but he's helped setting up a a wrestling ring for a match tomorrow. So, um, Zach, if you want to jump on, let me know. I'll send you the link. So, um, oh, Marcelo said same question for Daniel. Ah, now you gotta. Now I gotta think. Oh my, the oddest thing I've ever come across. I might have to get back to you on that.
Does an old bridge count?
I would say that.
I found this old bridge in a certain location where the way that this thing was built, it was totally fascinating. It looked like giant columns, and it was 92 inches in diameter
Mm,
and perfectly round. And it was actually made out of limestone. What they would do with the limestone is they would heat it up and make it into a powder, and they would smash it down, and they would add like cactus to it, and they would actually make this to a mortar, and that would help this thing together. And inside these columns, there's actually pieces of limestone in there. Pretty
nice.
fascinating. And the thing is, what's wild about it is so embedded into the creek bottom. You just if you don't know what you're looking for, you will never find it, or you will never see it. And then actually found a piece to the column that was up, but it's maybe like around 12 to 14 inches, where a big column stood there, and then and they collapsed possibly through a big rainstorm or something. So
Right.
I don't even know if it's an old bridge or not, what it is, but it was something definitely built there for actually going across this creek.
That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
uh, Becca Warren says there's all kinds of terrain here in Texas. And then Marcella said, "Oh Lord, forget it if you have to think." I'm sorry, Marcella. um, I've come across all kinds of interesting findings. I just can't think of which one would be the oddest. Um, yeah, if something pops up in my head that I remember, I'll definitely share it. That's for sure. I'll definitely share it. Um, well, hold on. Here's a question. All right, I've been asked this question before, and I can't say I ever have. Is regarding a nest. Becca Warren is asking, have either one of you ever found a nest or anything close to what you would consider a nest?
Well, I'll tell you like this: I have a neighbor that actually the best way the best I've actually heard a couple of stories like this in dealing with the nest. And the nest was described to me as a pack rat's nest. It looks like a regular uh, sparrow's nest, little round ball looking thing. And
Yeah,
they've actually found one of those down between Normanna and Toledo, in the early '70s. And then they found another one from my neighbor when he was hunting. He was like around 17. He's probably in his 40s now. And him and his friend came across a nest out there as well. He said it was round. He would describe it the same way: big old round bird nest looking thing, rat pack nest, but it smelled pretty bad. And his buddy wanted to open it up. He goes, "No, let's not open this thing up." And he goes, "It stunk." He goes, "Let's get the hell out of here." So they actually took off. So that's the best way to describe it, like a swallow's nest, big
Right.
little round thing. And that was the way that they described it to me.
That's pretty cool. I can't say I ever come across what I would think or consider a nest. I've come across what I believe or or the thought of a possible bedding area, but where it was kind of surrounded by twined trees and limbs and bushes, and where there was an opening in the middle. But I don't know. That could have been part of it. Could have been natural. The other half, I honestly don't think was natural because the way the limbs, the different species of trees and limbs that were intertwined, that was very interesting. That was actually in one of my last pointed out in one of my last field videos I had on my YouTube channel. But that's the only thing I can really consider closest to a nest. But I wouldn't call it a nest. All right, now we got. All right, here we go. We got some YouTube channel questions coming up, popping up finally. For some reason, they weren't popping up right away. Eric Young is asking where we're from. I'm from Virginia, and Baldemar is from Beeville County, Texas. Actually, original. Honestly, I guess we could almost say that he's originally from Virginia too. Blount County Bigfoot Research Organization. He said, "I've never even heard of one here in Alabama." All right. And Eric Young goes on to say he's from Rockingham, North Carolina. Cool. Colonel Chubb says, "I'm in the swamps. Not maybe places for nests or beddings." Interesting. Well, being around swamps and stuff, I feel like swamps, those kind of marshy areas are, in my honest opinion, they may not be areas for bedding, however, but I do believe they are dwelling places for such creatures such as a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I don't know. There's a lot of alleged sightings around these kind of areas. How do you feel about that, Baldemar, as far as like swampy areas? Because there's because wouldn't you consider that there's different food sources that hang out around those areas too?
Oh, sure.
It
would be an excellent place to hide.
Right.
I heard there was a slave that actually escaped through the swamp, and they actually came to an area where there was solid land there. But if you don't want to be found, if you know when some areas down the swamp is where there is actually good hard soil, sure, they'll definitely can stay there. Hey, Daniel, I got to tell a story. A story.
Oh, please do. Yes, we love stories on here. You know that.
Oh yeah. People come up. This is what. This is how you know when you're really are out there in the Bigfoot community, and I collect a lot of stories.
Right.
And I was at Walmart and getting myself some ice cream, and I noticed this guy walking back and forth. And I'm going up, and I said, "Man, I wonder what this guy wants." And he stops and he looks at me. He goes, "Are you the Bigfoot researcher guy?" I said, "Yeah." And I told him, "Well, the reasons why I did the Bigfoot stuff out here is like that people could tell me their encounters, and I don't want them to think, when people tell me the stories, I'm not going to tell them that they're crazy, because I had experience of my own, and that's why I decided to go tell my story about what happened to me here. I don't care if anybody else thinks that I'm crazy about me seeing a Bigfoot." He goes, and the very first thing out of people's mouths when they tell me a story is that I don't want you to think I'm crazy, but. And he comes up, he goes, "Mr. Galvan," he goes, "let me tell you something." He goes, I was about to tell you that. He goes, "I got to tell you what happened to me 2 years ago." He goes, "I went up there and I saw your program, your news thing on the news, and I practiced my Bigfoot yells and everything. And I'm a gauger," he said. and he would go into people's ranches. And he said before he would go into people's ranches, he would get to the gate, and he would make a Bigfoot yell, and he would hit two sticks together, and he will wait for a few minutes and check if he could hear something. He'll go back into he went back into checking his gauges. And then so he did this for around 2 months. He told me. He goes everywhere where he went, every gate that he stopped at, he checked, and this thing was a routine thing just about every day. He did his tree knocking and his yell. He goes, one particular day, Mr. Galvan, he goes, I was in a rush. I didn't do my Bigfoot yell or snatch these two trees together. So I went over there and put my key into the lock. He goes, next thing I hear is like fingernails on a tree. And he goes, and I heard this scratch on this tree, and I looked where this scratch marks came from. Sure enough, there was something big, black, and hairy just looking at me. He goes, He got up and just walked right into the woods. And I said, hey, let me ask you something. He goes, what? He goes, do you yell anymore? Or you hit sticks together anymore? He goes, nope. Because ever since that day, I stopped.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I mean, this guy witnessed this.
Right.
What do you think that meant that the Sasquatch was doing? I mean,
see, the thing is, again, it's little things like this I mean, as researchers, we have to. It's important. It's very important because I go to a place where I check cattle out just about every day between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. Every day it's like clockwork, and I do. And then when I call when I call the cattle in, and I would do like a Bigfoot yell, and then sure enough, these cows would come in, and these cows would come in as soon as even my dog that they live pretty close by. My family member lives close by. He comes to my yells.
Right.
And so one particular day, and that's how I found that twist on the tree. I told you this story, Daniel, already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then sure enough, and then I went over there and went towards a little pond area and noticed a twist on the tree. And then so I thought I saw a footprint pretty close to the water area. I was about to snap a picture of it, and lo and behold, I hear two snaps of two trees snapping together. And then, man, I called Mr. Morley up and I actually told him what was going on. And I actually heard it going in there, but I never saw it. All I did was hear it. But everything was super fresh. But the thing is, the point that I'm trying to make is that they remember. If they hear stuff like mimicking them and stuff, and if you go to an area and you mimic and then you leave, come back maybe a couple of days later or a day later or whatever, just do it in one area, and then leave, and then so like that. If there was a Bigfoot in the area, so he's going to probably be waiting for you at the time that you actually did your snapping or your calling.
Right.
So, and that's exactly what that guy did. And he didn't think nothing of it. He thought he was, mocking me or whatever. And but he wanted to see one, and apparently he did. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you because people based off of some of the comments from some of the videos I upload, people see me. I experiment. I show people that I try to do tree knocks. Well, I've gotten tree knocks. I mean, I've done tree knocks. I've heard tree knocks, but I've also gotten responses from my tree knocks in the past. And from my observations and my experiences with tree knocks, from what I gathered, they clearly almost tell me that there's communication of giving off location signals to each subject. Now, that's what I gathered in my area. Now, I do believe that there's a possibility that tree knocks could mean something totally different in a different area or region. Maybe they were developed, whatever this type of form of communication or whatever it may be. It could there's a possibility because I've heard people that told me, "Oh, you don't want to do tree knocks because you're just inviting them. Uh, you're basically enticing a fight. Basically. Now, that could have some truth behind it. I don't know, but what's your opinion on that? I mean, 'cause like I said, my experiences here, in the forest up here, I've gotten responses, and not just one response, but responses in different locations around me. Um, you know, like for example, it was almost like when I gave off my tree knock, one response came down to the bottom left. After that one signaled, with seconds later, way up on that ridge, there comes another one. So to me, it's like they're letting each other know where you're at, where they're at.
Right.
I mean, but then I don't know. But what's your take on that?
I'm like this. Once you hear a certain knock,
Hmm.
you'll never forget it, and that's
Right.
because I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Um, um, there was a friend of mine. We went down these creeks, and we were exploring down these creeks, and there was a place where we couldn't get no reception on our cell phones. And then the only way that we could communicate with each other, like that, we would know where we were at. We would actually get these sticks, and we would actually hit trees. Mind you, we didn't know anything about Bigfoot in South Central Texas at the time. And sure enough, we and like every 30 minutes, we would hit a knock, do a knock, and sure enough, I would, at least I would know where I would know where we would be at. And then we did, and then we were away, maybe distance, maybe like a half a mile or three-quarters of a mile, but we could still hear our knocks. And then an hour, 2 hours later, he comes back and goes, "Hey, you doing all right?" He goes, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "How many times do you knock?" I said, "Well, I knock one time every 30 minutes." "Yeah, I thought so." He goes, "Why is that?" He goes, "Because I actually heard a few other knocks. I thought it was you, and thinking that that you were in trouble or something." He goes, "Nah." He goes, "Let's go home and we'll come back tomorrow." And then, sure enough, we came back. Me and him were basically we were driving together. We were about to go back into the creek, and then all of a sudden, you hear the loudest knock. Sounded like if somebody got a Louis slugger and just
Hmm.
slammed a tree.
Yep, I've had that experience once.
And then so I looked at him. He looks at me. He goes, "What do you think that is?" I said, "I don't know." He goes, "You want to find out?" I said, "Nope." That's the thing. Because again, and then sure enough, after that, a few months later is when we actually had our Bigfoot experience. So
Nice.
yeah, but again, it's like we would be man, we would Daniel, we would go miles. I'm not talking about feet. I'm not talking about yards. I'm talking about miles,
Hmm.
terrains. I'm talking about creek beds that you maybe like around 2 stories, 3 stories tall. We went in them, just studying the terrain, looking for wild, different birds, frogs. I mean, insects or plants and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that we did, and that's the way that's the way that we learned about our environment and what they lived, what lives there. And we even went as far as finding dinosaur bones down there. Um,
Nice.
yeah, but thing is, that's what we did, and we enjoyed it. But once you hear stuff like that, and you know what, Daniel, never ever in the terrain that we went into, not once did we ever find a track.
Mm. Now, could that have something? I mean, was it? That's that kind of brings me to why people ask, well, why are you only finding one track when tracks are found? Could that have something to do with the softness or the solid,
Sure.
the
Oh
terrain
yeah.
being solid?
Oh, because down here, Daniel, we have sandy loam out here. I mean,
Right.
we all got different types of soils in wherever we live in the United States, and down here we have sandy loam. I mean, even where wind can mess up a track.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, because here we got a lot of grass. Excuse me, we got a lot of grass. Again, just finding tracks is just being lucky. Yeah, it's just being lucky to find it.
Right. Yeah, because there was some years ago, really not. It wasn't that long ago. I can't remember exactly. I'll just say some years ago. I was doing a short field video, and I was hiking along. I was actually going along a small power line, and there was a lot of grass. It was short grass, some tall grass here and there, but bits and pieces of that stretch, there was like soft sand, and then it would get firm, and I just happened to come across a bear track, and it was a fairly decent sized bear track. And after I noticed it, I thought I looked. I'm still looking. I was like, it dawned on me. I said, it's just one bear track. I said there should be plenty more exposed here. And then that's when I noticed. I said, well, no wonder why it showed up here. It's soft, right? It's a sandy, soft spot right here. Over here, it's more of a solid to a mossy, spongy area where something, if whatever heavy step there, that moss absorb, it was like a sponge. Once you release it, it goes back up, And then there was some firmness to the ground in the area as well. So, and that there to me, was enough proof that, it gives an explanation to why a lot of only single tracks are found. On the other hand, too, the other thing is people see tracks. Oh, it stopped right here. Where did it continue? Well, it depends on the terrain and where you're at. I mean, there could have been a creek or a stream where it could have continued on its path, and you're not going to find tracks in a moving stream, or especially if it's got a big stride. So these are the kind of things that make sense to me. Why tracks are limited on why we don't find a good series or a good trackway sometimes. I know there's other explanations, and maybe there's some that we don't understand completely either. But real quick, I wanted to back up when you were talking about that one big tree knock. That sounded like that's exactly how I described that one tree knock. When my father was camping with us, there was a small group of us, and my father was one of them. And he had just gone in his tent that night because the temperature was comfortable. I mean, for me, it was 60 degrees, but it was real freezing for him because his medicine he takes just kind of thins his blood out. And he had just gone in his tent. He wasn't even in there 10 minutes. And we're sitting there, the rest of us are sitting there around the campfire, kind of small talk, and then we're quiet for a little bit. And from out of nowhere, just across from camp, on the other side of the forest road, keep in mind that same area where six of us had an encounter back in 2014. Just inside that tree line somewhere because there's some big pines. Some of the pines are pretty big and round in the area. And those are the kind of trees I love doing tree knocks, especially for the reason what we heard. That tree knock sounded like it was, oh yeah, exactly how you described it, a Louisville slug or someone with full force swinging. And those big pines put off a loud, hard, bassy knock, And when we heard that, Dad came scuffling out of his tent, and the first thing he did when he stepped out of his tent, he said, "I heard that," and I couldn't help but laugh. I was pointing over there. I pointed over where it came from. I said, "Dad, I told you," because I'm always telling him stories because he's always asking every time I've always gone out. If I experience something or whatever, I tell him things. So that's only just one minor thing he got to experience. He needs to get out there more. In hopes to experience more, but. So I thought that was very cool, though, But after that, we didn't hear no more tree knocks. But after that tree knock, it seemed like the forest kind of became alive a little bit. We were hearing distant vocals. We had, you could ask Greg Corbin, we've actually heard movement. It sounded pretty close to us. It sounded like they were moving around us, like circling us, checking us out, Because Greg kept pointing in the same direction I was hearing something. I wasn't saying nothing, but Greg kept pointing over there. I said, yeah, I know there's something over there walking. I could hear him. But it really turned on that particular night. I won't forget that night. It was a very active night. And even after things calmed down, we're sitting there and we heard a distant vocalization. Well, it wasn't as far as what some of the others were. But Greg was able to almost exactly mimic what he heard. And after he gave off his vocalization, it sounded what we heard. We got another one, and it sounded a hair closer, like it was moving in. Like it was communicating with Greg. So that there was very fascinating. That was a very interesting night. That was see, back in 2017, yeah, 18, yeah, maybe 2017, 18, somewhere around that period. But that was very interesting. I won't forget that. It could have been 16, maybe 17. I'll have to look. There's a picture. We have a group picture of all of us in the when that happened. But yeah, there may have been 16, 17. But regardless, that was a very active and interesting night to hear all that activity after that tree knock. So, um,
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, Jenna from the She Squashers is going to be coming and helping me do that program in
oh,
Normanna for the fire department.
that's awesome. Yeah, because I know Jenna. Jenna's down in Texas quite a bit. I'm not sure what part. Because I know her fiance lives down there somewhere, or it's been staying or stationed or something down there. Um, but yeah, that's pretty good. That's good that she's doing that. The She
And
Squatchers. Oh, I'm
mhm.
sorry. Go ahead.
And what was also too was pretty wild is that again everything is dealing with like an anniversary. Like 3 years ago, a friend of mine actually, Mr. Robinson, actually saw a Bigfoot walking across a fence line in Ormana in the month of February. So, and lo
Hmm.
and behold, here in the late part of January, that there's actually seeing these creatures, just up the road. So, again, it's like, now it's really starting to be active now in the month of January and February, and why is the reason for that? Again, it's, that's a little mystery, but I still think there's it's the overabundance of wild hogs that we have in the area. So,
Right.
and the deer season is going to be ending soon out here this weekend. So last weekend for it. So,
Oh, you guys still have deer season going on down
oh
there?
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh wow. Huh. It's interesting. Oh, let's see. Yeah, because ours ended in well, the late deer season ended in December. Because once you hit December, they have a late muzzleloader season that comes in for both bear and deer. So here we got a question right here from Jimmy Blanton. Do you think dogmen are misidentified Bigfoot reports? And he goes on to say they're getting more common.
I
I've
want. Go ahead, Daniel.
oh no, I was just gonna. The only thing I was gonna say, yeah, I know my thoughts on this. I believe they are, in my honest opinion. It's just because reason I'll just say this much: as far as what people classify or say dogman, I just believe, in my honest opinion, there's a lack of evidence when it comes to what people describe as a dogman. I mean, that's just my opinion. But there's more reports and what we believe to be evidence related to Sasquatch, Bigfoot. Um, because we believe, a lot of us, and I believe that Bigfoot comes into various shapes and sizes, just like us people. Um, there's been reports of three-toed Bigfoot in various areas. Arkansas, even people report seeing three toes up in Pennsylvania that are related, or people believe to be Bigfoot, but they're only three toes. Um, so as far as Dogman, I honestly believe they are misidentified Bigfoots because some people believe they describe seeing a snout, maybe. That kind of goes along with what we've talked about before, the different types of Bigfoot um, species. Um, just like people, regardless of their race, color, or whatever, their shapes and sizes, deform, whatever it may be, from different regions and parts of the earth, we all look different, So why can't a Bigfoot? So that's what I'll say about it. But what's your take on that, Baldemar?
Um, I was basically going the same way that you're going. It's dealing, you know, everything depends upon, you know, we just because maybe a Bigfoot might have a big snout. You know,
Hmm.
some of them may have a big snout and everything like that type deal. It could be, you know, maybe a different species of a Bigfoot. You know, me personally, I don't know. Um, and then you know, again, it tells you know, it turned. I'll give you I'll give an example. I'll give an example. That's why for me, when I love gathering stories, and I don't care, you know, how old they are or whatever. Like around 32 years ago, between 32 and 35 years ago, there is a creek that runs around the middle of Beeville called the Puesta Creek. And there was an area where this little boy that went out there in the creek and was catching frogs there one day, he was saying. And then all of a sudden, he runs to his house, terrified. And he runs and tells his mom, he goes, "Hey, mom," he goes, "you never guess what I saw." He goes, "I saw a dog walking on two legs."
Oh wow.
So, mind you, that's 30 years ago. And
Yeah.
that right down the middle of my hometown, Beeville. And
Hmm.
the thing is, again, and the way that he described it as a child was actually a big dog. And then the thing is it's also again is like it's like a you know what's the difference? I'm gonna ask you a question, Daniel. What's the difference between a lake and a pond?
Size.
Everything upon what the landowner wants to call it.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So the thing is, again, it you know one person could call it a dog man, and another can call it a Bigfoot.
Right.
It basically depends upon like me personally. If I would see certain things into my area or locations or the stories that people would tell me, I would basically would say that it's a Bigfoot because all the stories are about the same.
Right.
But if they come up
That
there and tell me a dog man, you have to give me a little bit more information as what you can think that a dog man is.
right, and that makes a lot of sense. That really does. Like here in Virginia, and I'm sure it's the same down there. What people refer or call lakes up here. I mean, to me, I was little, but growing up where I grew up, before we moved down here, we had what we call lakes that were huge. I mean, um, now here in Virginia, we have a few lakes that are lakes, like Lake Anna, Smith Mountain Lake, and Lake Gaston. These are huge, pretty decent sized lakes. You know, but some of the other surrounding areas, even like in my research area, we have what you call uh, Elkhorn Lake. It's a fairly decent sized body of water, but um, that's on to me. It's on the borderline. It is. I would consider maybe a small lake, but you know, so yeah, because again, that's why I said size because again, most of what people refer to, oh yeah, I have a lake on my property. You go there, it's like maybe 50 yards wide, you
Yeah.
know, so give or take. But I said, okay, cool, but yeah, but yeah, you made a good point, and that makes a lot of sense. So,
Now
um,
down here, now the old timers, the old timers still say that the goat man still walks down these creeks.
hmm,
And I never seen a goat man. I never heard it, but the old timers still talk about the goat man down here. And
that's interesting.
yeah, and then so and it goes one particular night he actually heard something. This old timer told me this story where he actually heard something walking into the creek, but it was very soft. But you could actually tell that it was walking on two legs. And he goes, "I knew exactly what that was." He goes, "That was the goat man."
Yeah,
So I mean, there's a lot of stories like that here, man. The old timers, man, have the best stories.
right. Huh. That's interesting. I mean, if the old timers are calling something a goat man, I mean, you want to consider that. Well, they've been around a lot longer. Why would they make up something like that?
Yeah,
And then again, what are they describing or referring to as a goat man?
right.
So are they seeing something with horns? Because I mean, to me, a Goatman would have to, have horns.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
like what's that mythical creature? Kind of like a. I was just watching a movie that has him a satyr, whatever. Like it's half man, half
Centaur.
goat.
Yeah.
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 So,
Pan. Yeah.
hmm. Oh, hold on. Stepping on my wire.
I mean
Huh.
that's a story about legends. People. I mean, people can go on and on and on telling good stories like that. So
Right.
that definitely makes a legend. Here in Texas, we have great stories in Texas. Even though it turns out to be a lie, you better make it good.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Now, I believe it's safe to say, talking about legends, Bigfoot's considered a legend, and, and a mixture and a combination of a lot of different folklore. And, people could be considered legends. So, legends could either just be, stories or, just a part of folklore. I mean, does that make sense?
yeah,
Um, so, I mean, it's hard to, again, oh, yeah, you hear the legend, like, say, the legend of Baldemar Jr. Well, we know he existed. We know he's real, And then you got the legend of, you know, such and such creature, down the legend of Boggy Creek. There's a legend that they're referring to the Bigfoot that, you know, worked that area. Um, so yeah, when people hear, yeah, there's a legend around here. Well, it could be just, that's one thing they got to keep in mind. It could either be a story or there could be some solid truth behind it, because I guess that's what creates a legend is a passed down story too,
right.
you know. um, Now talking about Goatman, Marcella has she made a comment. I'll put it on here. She said, "I have several written reports of Goatman and a drawing of what's supposed to be one." Well, that's interesting.
It is
And
interesting.
Marcella's in Kentucky. Yeah. And Michael
Daniel,
Paradis
can
is asking this. Oh, go ahead.
can we get Marcella on here?
Yeah, if she wants to. She's more than glad to. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Marcel.
yeah, because
Yeah, Marcella. I'm gonna send you the link. I got to hunt her down on the Facebook side. Hold on. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
I like listening to her talk. She's a pretty she really captures the mind a lot. So
All right. Let's see if it pops up here. I can't keep. Here we go. So Marcella, if you're listening, I just now sent you the link. Feel free to jump on in. All right. So we'll see what happens.
and you know what also
I,
too, Daniel was I heard a story too here in the B County area. Um, have y'all heard the legend of the little people, duendes?
that I mean, I've heard different stories about what people talk about little people, but that name you gave, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's well, there's actually an old native word, duendes, or Spanish word, old Spanish they call it,
Oh,
about.
okay.
And I heard a story, and I thought it was fascinating. I probably help share it with your viewers. That there was this man. He actually was in his house, and he was sitting down there just. I believe that he was watching TV or do something in his house, and all of a sudden the door swings open. Like pushes the door in, and then hey Marcella, and then so this little man, like a little troll man, came in this house and kind of roughed him up a little bit and took off into the open door, and the dogs started chasing him, chasing the little creature out in the woods, and then I don't even know whatever happened to this story. Uh, you know, so that was, I mean, it was a pretty wild story the way that they told it to me. So I thought it was pretty wild.
Huh.
Yeah, and they
Speaking
called it a duende, called it a little man. like a
Little
little
man.
troll.
Yeah, something like that makes me think of leprechauns.
Yeah, yeah, something like a little troll. And the very first thing that came to my mind was, what do you, what is this guy on, right? And I heard a story similar to that. When a family member, she was actually late for school, and sure enough, this little man came into her room and shook her bed and say and tell her, "Wake up, wake up, wake up! You're gonna be late for school. You're gonna be late for school." And she gets up. He goes, "What's that?" And then so she gets up and she sees this little man running down the hallway and then just disappearing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. That's why I throw it out there. Marcella, how you been doing?
I've been doing all right, Baldemar. How are you?
Doing good.
Good, good. That kind of reminds me of the Gremlins of Kentucky. That little
Ooh.
story did.
Wow.
So, what do you know about that? Them you could tell us about. That sounds interesting.
Well, there has been sightings of them now in the county over from us, which is like Letcher County, which is just a few minutes from us.
Wow.
Chrissy has
So
joined us.
most people say they're not cryptid. Most people say they're aliens that
Really?
encountered them.
You know what? Why
Mm,
does everybody think that they're aliens? And I know it's a great. I call it a mystery. It's stuff that we have to figure out for our own. And there's a lot. Even there's even little arrowheads that the Native American Indians made as offerings for the little people, for the duendes. And just please the spirits. And never have they ever considered them as star people. So
right.
Hmm. I thought I popped this up here. This was interesting. Kelly Ray Jones had mentioned. He said, "I hear of the little people, the moon-eyed people, and the fairy crosses of North Carolina, Appalachia. We got goblins here in Durham, North Carolina, that live behind doorways in the walls and in the downtown area here." He said, "I've seen one. My cat killed and ate one, and it made him sick for a few days." Well, that is interesting.
very.
I would have liked to see some photos of that. So, so
I've, I've heard,
interesting.
I heard a lot about the goblins being part of the Appalachians, but I've never heard anything killing one. But that would be cool to see.
I've always
Hmm.
said, you can't kill a spirit. So that's it's basically again it's how for me it's real hard to see that because I think that they're more in the spirit realm that they are in the alien stage, whatever you want to call it. Um,
Hmm.
but I think it's more. I think it's more spiritual than anything else.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
Absolutely.
really knows what the goblins are. I mean, there's so many guesses, but some say they live in the coal mines around here. Some of them say they live in the cave system. Some of them say that they just show up certain times of the year. There's just I don't think anybody really knows what they are, and I'm more leaning toward if it is anything more spiritual.
Right.
Hmm. I'm not sure who it's coming from. I don't know if it's Chrissy or Marcella. There was some kind of little sound interference in the background.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I'm gonna have to blame it on you, Christy.
it prob it probably is, ma'am. But that's why I'm trying to get to my room so I can change my earpiece.
Oh,
It
okay.
was 50, it's
Yeah.
50-50. It's going to be me or you won. So
That's what you get. What you pay for, you know. You want one with a longer cord, but it causes havoc. So we're gonna get the better one.
I love your accent.
Oh, thank you.
Well, talking about that, I was just about to announce. Now we have me from Virginia. We got Baldemar from Texas, uh, Chrissy from Louisiana, and then Marcella from Kentucky. So, all right, could we get all 50 states on here?
Only 46 to go.
Unfortunately, I only have room for 2 more spaces on here. So, yeah, this platform only allows up to 6 people. So.
Now, how does that sound? Does that sound better?
Yes.
Oh, much better.
Yeah. Don't
So
ever
that means
buy.
stay
Don't
there,
ever
don't
buy
move, and
freeze.
don't even buy what cheap ones.
Yeah, don't buy the cheap
Well, last
ones.
time. Oh yeah. Well, last time we had Christy on here, it was I believe it was what, New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Oh look. What? That's creepy looking on you. You know,
Oh,
you
she's
do
laughing. She's dying over there.
you do that, you put a bad taste in my mouth. You're not pretty no more when you do that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
Oh,
No,
no,
with the
I'm just
ugly
picking.
teeth. Ugly
I'm just
teeth.
picking. I used to have a set of those somewhere around here. I don't know whatever happened to them, but.
Oh, God's sake, Daniel, do not put those in. I will have to hang up.
No.
I actually bought those. I was messing with my granddaughter. She's 6 years old and she's very smart. So I went to the store and I bought it and I put them in my mouth when she was by my mom's house. And I walked up and I said, "Ow!" And she's like, "What's wrong?" She said, "KK, what's wrong?" I said, "My teeth are hurting." And she says, "Your teeth are hurting?" I said, "Yeah, look." It's she went, ugh. I said, "That's what you get for eating." That's what you get for eating candy. And she don't really touch candy that much.
Oh wow.
Promise. Promise.
I
Oh
try to
my.
lighten the day. Look, I've been having this has been a rough week. You know, my mom was in the hospital yesterday, so
Oh wow.
yeah. So I'm trying to just have a good time, I guess. You know. Oh shit. Sorry. I got
So
my
you're from
drink.
Louisiana?
Yeah, I'm from Louisiana.
I love
Yep.
Louisiana.
We got good food and good people and many Sasquatches that need to be discovered.
And you have the murder.
The
And
Ruru.
you have the murder. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And what else we got? We got voodoo. We got Mardi Gras is coming up.
Oh yeah.
I'm not really much on Mardi Gras anymore.
No. Exciting time
We
though.
got. Yeah, I mean the people get crazy though. That's the problem. The traffic gets bad out here. You can't get around, and you know people. In fact, I'm actually riding in a parade on uh, February 16th. It's called Atlas. The crew of Atlas is rolling, and you know it's a fun thing to do. It's something different. I mean, I've never rode Mardi Gras Day, but I have rode uh, St. Patrick's Day because, like I think I said earlier, that we have we throw cabbages, we throw carrots, we throw potatoes for St. Patrick's Day. That's a fun parade.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you do that for?
For St. Patrick's Day. It's like there's 2 parades back to back one weekend, and then the following weekend people ride, and it's actually cheaper to ride for St. Patrick's Day than Mardi Gras because Mardi Gras is expensive. It's like
Oh wow.
I don't know if you ever heard. There's a parade called Endymion. That's where the floats are lighted up and they're big, and you know that's over $1,000 to ride in that thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
First you said they throw cabbage.
Yeah, I never
yeah.
heard of that before.
Yeah, they throw
Yeah, I was gonna
cabbage,
say.
carrots, lemons, potatoes.
Why?
I don't
It's an
know.
Irish tradition. It brings you good luck.
Yeah, yeah. So you can cook.
Hmm.
You can cook. You can
It's
walk
good
away
luck.
with like 10 heads of
Mm-hmm.
cabbage. You can make some kind
Mm-hmm.
of
You can
stew,
make a
whatever you
salad.
want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love.
yeah.
Yeah, I love from cabbage. You know, you can make coleslaw from cabbage, and then my mom, she makes just the way she does it. You know, cabbage and corned beef or
Yeah.
some type of kielbasa. You know, those are pretty
Didn't we have
combinations I like.
If somebody tosses you a cabbage, would you actually eat it?
Yeah. You take
Wow.
it right out of the sack. You know, people see.
Really?
Yeah, they're in a sack. They're not like individual. They come, you buy them, and they in sacks, you know, and you cut the
Wow.
sack open, and you hand it. You can't throw it at the person because you'll knock somebody out. Actually did that one year. I had a bunch of carrots, and let me tell you, I had a carrot that was about that big, and it was about that big around. And this guy's like, "Hey, I want that carrot!" And I went, I humped it. I hit that dude in the head. The carrot bounced off his head, and it went down, and it broke into 2 pieces. And he picked it up, and he looked at me, and he went, "It's broken, and I got a bobo on my head." So I felt so bad. I said, "Here," I gave him the whole sack of carrots. I said, "Here you go, honey. I ain't throwing carrots no more."
That's funny.
You could poke somebody's eye out with a carrot.
Oh my God, them things are huge, dude. They are just like wild.
Yep.
It's fun. I mean, if you ever come down and want to experience, Mardi Gras is overrated in New Orleans. It's nasty. The people get drunk and you can't have a good time with your kids. Now out here in Metairie, in Jefferson Parish, we got night parades right before Mardi Gras, and trying to get where you can see me without that light. We had the night parades, and they're fun and they're family oriented, but you also still have crazies that come out there and drink and drive. And that's another reason why I don't really do Mardi Gras anymore,
Wow.
And it's just. But St. Patrick's Day, that's the best. I'll have to send you pictures of it because I have pictures of me when I was on the float.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now
So,
let me ask you this. I don't mean to get off the subject, but have you all had any Bigfoot sightings out there in y'all's place?
in New Orleans, supposedly on the BFRO, they had something across the river from here, across the Mississippi. These 2 cops had got a call with this thing creeping around somebody's house, and they said it was tall and hairy. That's the only encounter that was here, but we do have the Honey Island swamp monster. So I haven't really checked into that one yet because of course I'm with Bigfoot Explorer. I go where he goes, So we usually go to Mississippi and up in northern Louisiana, but I kind of like to get out in the backwoods out here, but there's so much swamp out here. It's just, you can't really get back in those swamps. They got too much quicksand, snakes and stuff,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a dangerous setting back there,
Wow.
But
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to, there's a lady, her dad or her grandfather, I think his name was Harlan Ford. He found the 3-toed footprints that was like web feet that was supposedly by Bigfoot. They got a casting of it, and then her dad or somebody had found the lost tapes, and they actually showed the Bigfoot walking away. It was on an old camera, kind of like the Bob Gimlin Patterson film.
Wow.
Kind of like that. Not black and white, but it was in color. But it was kind of that old depiction of, you could tell by the movie setting,
Are you talking about the one? Is it the one that's walking through the woods in some trees?
Yes.
Yes.
Is
that the Freeman footage?
No, not the Freeman. This is another one. This one's older than that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the granddaughter is taken up with her, like I said, either granddaughter or her dad or somebody. She's taken up and taken over what he was accomplishing.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'd like to get in touch with her and talk to her and see what she's got on, what's out there with the Honey Island swamp monster.
Wow.
But yeah, and that's in my neck of the woods. That's only like 35 minutes away from here, and we travel freaking 4 hours away.
Wow.
But
yeah,
you got to go where the woods are at. You got to go where the state parks are at. We have a small state park, like 20 minutes from here, but it's small. But you can never say never because you expect the unexpected, especially in that. You don't know what's in there. They could have the DM in there. They could have Bigfoot in there. We don't know.
Right.
What's DM?
Dog man.
Ah. Now tell me. Now let me
Yeah.
ask you. What's your take on the dog man? So what do you think the dog man is?
I think it's a hybrid dog, like a different species. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's like here. It's called the Rougarou or the Lugaroo. I call it the Rougarou, and that's based on from the Cajuns. That's based on somebody who has been cursed and turned into a werewolf. And, I
Right.
mean, it's a take of anything. People think it's a Bigfoot. People think it's a dog man. People think it's a werewolf. So you don't know. So, but I think there are higher like species of dog, like higher upper. There's something out there. There's something out there, but I wouldn't want to run into that. I'm strictly Bigfoot. I'm strictly the Bigfoot.
I have to share this. I'm gonna post it up on the screen. I'm pretty sure he meant Mountain Beast Mysteries.
Mountain Beast.
But Eric Young, I have to post. This is kind of funny. He mistypos, and this is why. Oh, hold on. Not where is it? Right here. There it is. I had to share that. I couldn't pass that up.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, Eric. I had to post your typos up here. Mountain Breast Mysterious. But I'm pretty sure he meant
Mountain Beast Mysterious?
Yeah. It's okay, Eric. He said, my bad. It's funny. I had to share it.
The unidentified flying boob. He said, my
My
bad.
bad.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
That's
sorry.
new.
That was
one.
the
Can you-
highlight of the night. Wait, what was that? I didn't hear that part.
I said, that's a new one. Can you explain that to me?
He's blaming it on his phone.
I do that all the time.
I do that too.
That's a new cryptid.
The mountain breast monster.
Did you hear what I
Well,
said?
hey, it might, what's that?
I said it's not a cryptid, it's a cryptid.
The Scottish Wild Man. He said, first time I've caught you live stream, by the way. Awesome. I'm glad you're joining in with us. As you see, if you've been listening, we like to have a good time too. So great that you're here with us. So
Well, hey, I'm gonna go. I got Scott calling me, so I'm bailing out on y'all. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
oh, no problem. Thanks for coming on. Absolutely.
I'm sorry. That was awesome. Stop, Scott.
Nice
Well,
meeting you.
All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful night and have a good weekend.
Me too.
I'm sorry.
You
I'm
too.
gonna be
Thank you.
laughing on it. Cryptid. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hopefully
Wait,
that
wait.
maybe got us some more subscribers.
I know exactly. Well, I'm trying to help you. Bye, y'all. You have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Well, there we go. That's a new legend we'll have to look into. Nah, I'm just joking. Oh my.
That'll be a strictly man field. You can have it.
Well, it kind of makes me think of the Patterson footage. I mean, Patty had breasts, So,
I never noticed.
guys, notice? Look,
Right over my head.
we just had a sighting.
Right. Okay. All right.
Hey,
But
Marcella, what's been going on in Kentucky?
not a lot. There's been a few reports. You were talking about the nest earlier, and this was actually last year. A gentleman called me, and he had found, like you were talking about, it looked like a huge kind of bird's nest, but it was
Mhm.
made out of maybe limbs from trees, and
Mhm.
grass had been stuffed in it. And inside of it, I just thought it was somebody that did it until you guys were talking about it, and I was like, maybe not. There was paper, there was an old basketball, there was just weird stuff in it, and it stunk.
Oh wow.
It stunk really bad.
Wow.
You know, I
Yeah.
hear of, on a few rare occasions, people do come across, what we describe or they refer to as a nest. Well, I really think people need to take the proper procedure or protocol and take caution. And if they believe that these may be Bigfoot related or some kind of cryptid that's doing this, I think we need to start collecting samples. Um, I mean, and when I say samples, like if you believe something's laying in there, don't get in there because you're going to contaminate it with your own, your own DNA. Um, but maybe take carefully with gloves and stuff. Collect some of the branches and debris where you think something was actually sitting or laying in. And I'll try to explain why because for those who might know Darby Orca, he's actually returning to our third Virginia Bigfoot conference. And I've had numerous discussions in the past with him on the phone, and he shared um, a little bit of information regarding some protocol that him and um, the late Dr. John Bindernagel, a lot of them been in discussion. Darby and John and a few other biologists and primatologists included. Um, they were on a kind of a down low kind of private project, but there was a lot of scientific protocols that they discussed. Um, in obtaining DNA, there's DNA that could actually be taken from tracks. For example, um, it I'm going to try to explain briefly without getting too far into it, but for example, if we find tracks or trackway, it's always good to take a sample. He said it's good if you could take a sample of the track. For example, take a teaspoon or a tablespoon or whatever, and collect the sample. If it's dirt, if it's in soil, collect that soil from the center of that track, and then outside of that track, keep it separated, but take a separate sample of of the soil that's not stepped in.
Gotcha.
What they do, the chemistry labs actually use that for comparison, to draw out the difference. Um, but there's actually chemicals and any kind of particles that they could draw if it's something biological, if it's something like from us, a human or any species that has stepped in it, they could draw out the DNA. There's different ways and procedures because tracks. Mainstream science does not accept tracks as proof or evidence. Yeah, there's some that consider it, but see, the thing is, tracks, they could be hoaxed. That's why mainstream science doesn't consider it. But there's simple procedures and protocol that are um, that can be taken in order to kind of, I guess you could say, take science on where science will start considering the serious side of this. Where they can start considering the possibility more instead of just ignoring it or dismissing it completely. So I think that's important that I brought this up. I made mention of this probably about a year or two ago, but I hope Darby. I'm going to try to talk to Darby more about that to get maybe to freshen up. We'll get some better understanding on this. But I do understand to a certain extent. It's not completely understood. So, um, but yeah, I think there's certain protocols that we could all start taking, especially out in the field. I do try to carry gloves with me. I don't carry everything properly. I have certain containers, and I do try to keep paper envelopes because that's another thing a lot of people fail to do when they come across hairs. They want to collect hairs. Everybody has a habit of putting everything in a plastic baggie. Why that's a big no-no? Because of the moisture and the condensation that could develop in there, and bacteria that will develop in that baggie. You'll contaminate your sample. Scientists will tell you, or even forensics, if you ever pay attention, even on these shows, you always see it when they're collecting samples. They put them in a paper bag. That's actually the proper way to do it. Paper will protect and preserve your sample until it's able to be studied or analyzed. So
And also it's good when you're sending your samples off. What I normally do with mine is I stick mine in the freezer. Hey, Nikki, I stick mine in the freezer, and then when I send my samples off, I don't send them all. If I have like six strands of hair, I keep 3 and I send the other 3 out, because you just never know.
Right.
Yeah.
If they get
That's
lost.
some good advice.
Yeah. And again, Daniel's excellent. Paper is great, fantastic, and that's what I use. I use envelopes. Again, I mean,
Yeah.
it's always good. It's always good to have a little kit with you, like a little first aid kit, or I call it, just in case you find some evidence and stuff like that out there, and something small that you can carry with you. That because you may not find anything for months, weeks, years, and then all of a sudden there's one moment and that you find something that you say, "Hey, this is different. This is odd.
Right.
This is a possible maybe." And then all of a sudden, and you don't have anything with you. It's always good to have something, a kit with you, just in case. I call it my Bigfoot kit. So
Right.
it's always good to have it with you.
Well, another thing you just remind me of too is one of the most important tools inside of a kit, especially for collecting DNA samples. Um, I have a habit. I have a regular pair of tweezers, and of course the metal kind. But I really recommend, which I've been looking for them. I used to have a pair, but I try to look around in where they have, like if you go in Walmart or a grocery store where they sell all the baby stuff, and look where they have the stuff, the nose, all the
Right,
stuff they have for they do usually, if you look good enough, you will come across the plastic tweezers.
right,
Or at least the ones that have the plastic coating on them. They have,
right.
where, because if you got hair, you try to use the metal one, there's a chance that you may be pinching and cutting and snapping and damaging that sample. So
And
I always thought it would be a
also,
lot
if you
safer.
touch that metal, if you've touched that metal end and you touch that hair with it, you're contaminating it. That's
Exactly.
cross
Exactly.
contamination.
Now, the other thing is too. I don't know if it damages this, but well, of course, if you got rubbing alcohol, or how some people use like I only thought by taking a lighter and torch, like briefly lighting it, heating it up would kind of destroy. But then, of course, then you're leaving residue on there from the flame, But
Right.
so
Yeah.
but yeah, I think those are some pretty good points that people should keep in mind. So I hear this guy Mark Burchett says, I keep a kit in a cheap tackle box in my truck. That's actually a really good idea. That it really is. I used to do something similar. I need to do that again. It's funny because every time I'm in Walmart, I'm always looking at tackle boxes because, regardless if I want it for fishing or not, sometimes they got these cool looking tackle boxes. I just want to get one just to have one because they're always changing the style of tackle boxes. But what's good about them, you can open up, they got your tray and then you got whatever. But they also have little compartments and everything, which is pretty handy. Sometimes even a simple one of those clear seafood trays, they just snap open and they got different slots in there. Those are good too. You can create a kit box out of something like that as well. So little things I personally need to freshen up on, and get kind of get things together. Like right here on the other side of my desk here in my bedroom, this is big. It's probably over 3 feet long, and it's pretty wide. I used to have it in the back of my Chevy Blazer, but it's made by Plano, the same company that makes tackle boxes. but it's a storage thing. It looks like a big giant tackle box. It's got wheels on it on the one end, so you can roll it almost like kind of like how luggage is. But it's actually I used to keep a lot of my gear and equipment in it. I need to put it back in my other my new vehicle that I have out there right now. So, but yeah, but right now when I'm using it as a footrest right now as I'm propped up. So I'm leaning back. I'm in my office chair, and then my feet are on that whatever you want to call it chest. So yeah, I'm laid back like Baldemar. So,
Yeah.
I think Baldemar's on his recliner though.
Baldemar's
kind of
our
like a
hero.
recliner.
Look at him all laid back there, chilled.
Yeah. Had a hard day at work today. So. Yeah.
So what about you,
today was a
Baldemar?
long.
Anything new going on with you?
There've been some sightings down. I don't know if you heard or not. If you were listening to the program or not, there was actually 3 good sightings down pretty close to my area. One it was in Urbana, like pretty close to like around a few blocks, pretty close to, from downtown. Another one was in Bettis, like around 6 miles away, and some oil field workers actually saw it as they were going to their job site, standing by a gate. Another one. A guy actually saw it pretty close to while he was opening up a gate, and he heard scratch marks, and he actually saw it. A few yards away. It's been pretty active, and as I was telling Daniel earlier, I'm doing a program here on the 8th, and I'm hoping to get more witnesses out here like that. They could actually tell their story. I got Jenna from the She Sources that are going to be out there, and maybe that she can actually help other people, tell their stories. So that's what's going on with me. So I don't know if I'll do this or not, and it seems to work wonders for me, especially if you have a real good newspaper in your local town, and you come up there and you talk about Bigfoot encounters and things like that, and they put in the paper, and you'll be surprised how many people would actually come out there and actually call you or talk to you on your page or whatever, explaining to them about Bigfoot stories, or actually seeing you like in Walmart and things like that, and telling you their encounters. And I've been seeing that there's a lot more people really truly opening up now, and really telling their experience about what happened to them or their family members, actually, or what happened to them dealing with Bigfoot. So the stories are slowly starting to come out, and it's just been doing wonders for me here.
Yeah, I notice sometimes it's hard to get people to talk about it. They don't want to really talk about it a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, is like you're it's like I mean, there's sometimes trying to force open the petals to roses. It's so difficult to do that. And there's some people that go to their deathbeds, having an experience where they that actually happened to them. Family members know what happened to them, but nobody's talking. And here in my hometown is that some people open up to me, or there's some other people that are real closely related to Bigfoot, and they actually talk to them about it. And then that's why I'm hoping that Jenna could come down here and actually talk to some people. Maybe we can get more stories out there, because I'm pretty sure that Jenna would do an excellent job. Because Jenna has a special way of talking to people, and I'm pretty sure that she would do a pretty good job up there. So that's why I'm glad that she's actually showing up for the event.
If I may jump in there real quick. Now, Baldemar, when you do these podcasts with us, and you talk and explain stuff to us, you do a phenomenal job. And I know in person, you've even told me that you're very shy.
Yes.
But you need to find a way to get over that, because you talk and explain things very clearly. It's just you got to overlook the crowd. When I first started doing it, I don't look at people directly. I look over top of them, and I'm constantly scanning my eye, because if I look or stare too long, I'm gonna lose focus on what I'm trying to explain. So
right.
but so yeah, I know exactly how you feel, but you need to come up here so I can put you on the spot as a conference.
Now, also too, what I really want I don't know if it's out or not. I haven't seen it yet. Native Bigfoot. I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, I know he's posted about that. I don't know if he's released. Let me see if that's a good question there.
You are a really good speaker,
Thank you.
Baldemar, and
Thank
you're
you.
very easy to understand. So you
Thank
would
you.
be good at it. You really would. You should think about it.
Yeah, it's called Native Bigfoot, right?
Right. That was fun doing, and they did a fantastic job with it. Unfortunately, when they came down here, the temperature was 102 degrees.
Oh, wow.
It was sauna, and there's sometimes that people are not used to the heat. I'm used to the heat, but there's some people that are not used to the heat. So poor things that were sweating, and yeah, that's when guy invented beer.
Okay, well, it has not been released yet, but on the Native Bigfoot Facebook page from Bilko Productions, they will be premiering it or sharing it for the first time at the Wild and Weird West Virginia Con. So that's actually coming up here. April 4th.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be aired for the first time. I'm not sure if it's available on DVD yet. But yeah, Wild and Weird Con. That's interesting because I don't know who it is, but I spoke to somebody. They were all booked up this year, but I was actually trying to get in with them. Yeah, but they did reply to me one time. So, but yeah, they're booked up this year with people. So, and also there's actually another thing going on here in the next couple of months or so here in Virginia. It's a paranormal thing, and I didn't know nothing about it till somebody had messaged me and started talking to me and said they're going to be coming down. It's in Strasburg, Virginia, which is just about an hour north of me. And I was like, wait a minute. I looked at that and I looked it up. The guy sent me the website and I was looking at it. I said, oh, what's the name from New York is going to be there? What the heck is his name? I have known as the Bigfoot detective or Sasquatch detective. Oh man, I'm having a brain fart. He I can't think of his name. I hate when I know who the person is. I can't. Their name's on the top of your head. You just can't think of it, put it out there. But it'll come to me here in a little bit. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be a lot of people there. So as far as they got a big list of speakers there, so it should be interesting. But I actually checked into that too. He says it's the guy who sent me the information was talking. He said, "Hey, you should check it out." But they were booked on speakers too. So I was actually trying to get in on that because I like to take advantage of different conventions and stuff because I believe in. It's like the more I can get involved with is more I believe in. I can spread the word. Let people know, hey, I'm here. Because paranormal conventions are interesting. They try not to put too much Bigfoot or cryptid involved, but they like that a little bit, a small taste of it, like once in a while. So, but it's all good. And then again, at the same time, I don't want to get way too involved because that could be very overwhelming. Especially when you got your own things to keep focused on.
Anything new up with you, Daniel?
Honestly, as far as Bigfoot related, as far as getting out in the field, nothing right now. Since my last outing, because with the planning and everything, with the conference coming up here in June, I've been working on things here and there with that, and then between that and actually work because I've pulled a lot of hours in with work here the last week or so. So it's nothing really new, nothing exciting. So it's just been a very exhausting time. So,
Yeah, until you host one of those cons, you have no clue what goes into them.
right,
The
exactly.
work, months ahead
But
of time, months ahead of time.
well, the main thing right now that I find exhausting is talking with various people about getting things organized with that person and working things out with that person, and the cool thing is you get cool people and cool Bigfoots that are going to come and perform at your event, like this guy here. So yeah, everybody will be
Okay.
able to come out and meet this guy. Yeah, Sax Squatch will be there. So
Cool.
yes, I got to meet this guy. This guy here was at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival back in October. So he is quite the jazz player, and he's actually really a tall guy. He actually fits that costume very well. He's taller than me.
Wow.
Yeah, he's at least 6'3", 6'4", or so. I don't know. So, but so yeah, people come out there, they can get their picture taken with him. So, so yeah, this year our event's gonna be this is gonna be a slight twist of all. We got some paranormal groups coming in to be a part of this. Like these guys right here, the
Oh, cool.
Twisted Realm. Yeah, they were part of a paranormal series on the Travel Channel, Destination Fear. So it's gonna be pretty cool having them. They'll be coming up, setting up as vendors there. So
Excellent. Excellent.
yeah. So yes, indeed. Now, if we can get Baldemar to come up here,
Try.
you know,
I
you,
will
you
try.
know what you need to do. You need to meet up with Nikki and hide in her luggage. Nikki's flying up here.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like 10 hours, 12 hours away from me. Yeah. Long.
Well, well, I'll tell her to drop a rope when she flies over your area, so you can.
I'm gonna
So,
I'm gonna talk a little bit about the paranormal stuff, and if you don't mind, Daniel. And
yeah, no, go ahead.
well, it's gonna be it's gonna be something between paranormal and dream state. And I was when I was talking to you, Marcelo, last time, and I made a comment about having dreams about ancient um, um, uh, not aliens, but ancient spirits and stuff.
Right.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so check this one out. I was dreaming. I dreamt a three-headed snake. All right,
Mm.
it's not your typical heads to a snake. It's the one that the temple of the Mayans are. Like the square heads that the. But it was
Right.
it was actually a lot. These snakes were actually alive in them, and one of them was white. The other one was black and white, and they're like square, just like those little square things you used to play with a long time ago, like with the ABCs on there and numbers on them. This little blocks like squares, and that's how this snake was. And one of them, they both of them had their eyes closed, but one of them actually had a black, and actually, and that one was black, and that what was moving was moving the whole bodies to the snake, and it was just traveling. And I saw it super close and everything like that type deal, and it was pretty wild. And then so when in my dream state, I actually found it like an old place, like in England or London, where the bricks are on the floor on the pavement, and that's where it happened. And then all of a sudden, it changed to a different changed to a different location, and then it just slithered away. Now explain that one. But everything was dealing with a Mayan, with a Mayan structure.
Yeah.
And I even had
Was the black snake, was its eyes open? I know you said two of them's eyes were closed. Was its
right,
eyes open?
right.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
That's odd, Baldemar. Usually people say that snakes mean enemies, but that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Usually if you dream of a snake with its eyes closed, that means that there is usually a part of you that is not open. Whether it be a sixth sense that you haven't opened up to, or whatever, a part of you is not open, is usually what that means, has been my experience. But a three-headed snake, one body, three heads, two of them with their
And
eyes closed, one with its eyes open.
yeah, different colors. I mean, black and white, and it's
Right. Right.
gorgeous, 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 gorgeous animal.
Huh.
Yeah. And see the kind of, I would drink things like this, or when I had my when I had my open heart surgery, and then I would have like well, again, I don't want the people up there to think I'm weird or anything like that, but a lot of people think I am anyway. So I would actually have people like dressed in Mayan clothes, actually holding on to like a rope in the middle of it, with a rope and a stick, and inside there had like a little smudge bowl, and it was actually like smudging and stuff. Just standing there, you could actually see the hair, you could actually see what it was wearing, but everything was
That
mine.
sounds like
Yeah.
a prayer circle was around you.
Well, hey, check this out. If I could jump in there, I just
Sure.
looked something up. I just Googled it and see what I was just curious to see if something showed up. Now, interpretation, it's something I looked up. I Googled, I put three-headed snake dream and the meaning, and there's different things that popped up. But one thing, it says interpretation of a dream about snake's head. But it goes on to read the severed head of the snake, hands, blah blah blah. Let me jump ahead. It says a snake in a dream had three heads to unexpected pleasant changes in life, having then it goes on to let me scroll down. That there didn't really make sense. Let me click on this post here. Like I said, there's different things here. Hold on. This is more of a blog. There's somebody asking, hey, does anyone know what a three-headed snake dream means in a dream? I'm trying to see if somebody shared an answer to that. One person, this is not a definite answer, but one person says if it's three-headed, maybe you have three people on your mind who you sense are not being sincere with you or have negative intentions. Now, one person goes on to say, what color was it? How did it behave? Was it aggressive, assertive, or evasive? One person said black with a big center snake and lesser in size side snakes. It was rather calm, but when we went near it, kind of attacked, after which we left it, and it was in an enclosed area, not in the wild. Huh, yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's some blog thing I came across while looking up this information.
The keys that I picked up on Baldemar's dream, though, is that it's ancient. It's the Mayans. I mean, that's ancient. That means it's something very, very old.
Yeah.
Two of them had eyes closed. One had eyes open. That says that there's two things that he's not opened up to yet.
Right.
And maybe it is something to do with your ancestors, Baldemar.
Hmm.
You know, with my name being Daniel, I wish I was like the Daniel of the Bible, because he was in he was considered the interpreter of dreams before he got thrown in the lion's den, which was interesting, because of course a lot of the dreams they did have a lot of different symbolic meaning, and some of them meant, some of them were prophecies and stuff, and warnings, but it's interesting for anyone that may have that kind of gift to interpret certain things. But
I don't know how much Baldemar does with the paranormal, but Baldemar has a little bit of that light about him that says he's a little empathic. So maybe that dream was something trying to show you that.
When I'll tell you about, I put it this way. A few years ago, I'm still into the paranormal. Still got a K2 here at my house and everything. I went to the Dunker Lighthouse and actually caught like around a 5 second, 6 second EVP where I actually heard where we ask our standard normal questions. Is anybody here? Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, inside this inside my recording, you could actually hear me talking normal, and then all of a sudden you hear me talking to like in a tube. And then here comes this little girl speaking. He comes up and says, "Is this what you want?" And then you could hear like two adults speaking, but I couldn't tell exactly what they were saying. And then all of a sudden you hear this little boy, like maybe like around between 14 and 16 years old, yelling to his dad, "Hey dad, look, an angel." And then you hear the little girl start talking again, and all of a sudden you hear her say, "You have to listen to the animals." And then next thing you hear is a big old flock of seagulls. Uh, uh, I knew that they were seagulls, and a big old flock of seagulls just on top of their heads and everything. And I caught this all in the EVP inside the Dunker Lighthouse, and it was totally fascinating.
Yeah.
And then
Well, she
anytime,
asked you the magic question.
what now?
She asked you the magic question.
Yeah,
Is this what you want?
right.
Hmm.
And anytime, like especially when I'm in the woods and stuff, sometimes normally I bring people with me, or there's sometimes I go by myself, and you could actually feel the emotions and things like that when you're walking down there.
Absolutely.
When the ancestors have been walking up there and everything. And then when they want me to find something, I get like a real strong like buzz or something like that. That's the best way to describe it. And then when I get real close to it, it gets stronger and stronger. And then all of a sudden, when I get further away from it, it gets less. And I always go to it I normally find things like stones or an arrowhead or something like that there. And I always listen to that. And so the spirits, basically want me to find something there.
Well, Baldemar, let me ask you that with what you just described, when you get that feeling, do you get the sudden feeling of anxiety, like almost all something like you can feel it almost in your chest, but at the same time, like you could be walking, your calms could be, and all of a sudden you get this feeling like you're in an area where your senses also pick up, like you're on alert, like there's a type of caution, like
Mm-hmm.
Like
you're being
basically,
alerted,
like,
like
yeah, you're at
something's there.
so that you're at. Well, there it depends. Because there's sometimes too I could actually feel the spirits of the ancestors. Sometimes I could actually feel, maybe that they were hunted, or maybe that because Native American Indians that's what they were done a long time ago. They actually hunted them for sport. People don't realize.
Right.
And then so the thing is again, there's sometimes that you sort of have a certain fear of that, and then here comes up now separating when you're in the woods, separating what you feel spiritually and feel like there's something else staring at you in the woods. And then that's when you should stop, relax, and trying to figure out what's going on actually. And then, but once you have that hair sticking up in the back of your neck, and especially when you have that feeling that something is staring at you, it's not supernatural. It's totally
Right.
it's totally something different
See
compared
that there.
to right.
Yeah, I think that's something natural. I agree. I think that's something that you know our body's reaction, which is well, what if you look up the definition to uh, um, it's almost like how should I describe this? It's a natural reaction. Our body's a natural instinct, I guess you could say. Instinct would be the best word, but we're our bodies, our focus, or in as Asians would refer to it, our chi. Where we sense and zone in on things, and our bodies become naturally alert. And I don't know if everyone. I'm sure a lot of people experience this, but then with some people it could just be straight out fear. On the other hand, it could be just we're just being more on alert and taking caution because we're sensing something's closer. And I know when I get that feeling, there's been a few times I do get that feeling. And when I'm in a certain area, I'll stop,
Mhm.
and either I'll stop and stand there, or I've been known to find like I'll find a log or something nearby or something, and I'll just sit down and relax and just kind of look around, listen, and kind of focus on that area, And then if I don't feel nothing no more, I'm like, well, maybe something's moved on or went away, and I'll carry on. I'll continue on my travel. But it's always been an interesting feeling. But I do get feelings and different sensations out there, when I'm out there. It's not all the time, but I do. And especially when I'm alone. It's different when when you got people with you, because when you're more focused on their well-being. Because when I'm out there by myself, people's like, "Oh, you're crazy. You go out in the woods all by yourself." Oh, yeah, because it's easier for me to focus on what's out there. Because when I take people out there, I have to worry about them.
Yeah,
So
that's so
because
true.
me, I'm not worried about myself. I know the terrain and I know how to handle myself out in the woods. It's just I'm a that's how I am. But just I'm worried about. Oh no, I gotta be careful where I go because somebody might get hurt. Because the places I go by myself, I wouldn't take others with me.
Oh, for sure. That's
So
true. That's definitely
yeah,
true.
so
Yeah.
but interesting.
And everybody
Um.
has a sixth sense.
Oh
Just
yeah.
some people are more in tune with it than others.
See that's also too, like, and the woods, and the woods, you're going to have them, because there's sometimes
Hmm.
I see people I see people when they do their Bigfoot stuff and they do their Bigfoot research, they just stomp into the woods, and they're like,
Yeah.
there are millions of leaves everywhere, and and there's certain ways of going into going into the woods, especially when you're trying to find something. And you're in order for you to do something, you have to be quiet as a mouse, and just sneak it in there. Eventually, they're going to find out that you're in there anyway. So
Right.
again, you're always supposed to follow. Always again. There's some, like you said, Marcella. There's some people that so in tune to it, and there's some times where it's like, I'm glad I'm in tune to it, and I'm glad that God gave me the gift for me to do that. And I'm going to give your viewers another little story. Stuff like this happens to me, like, and then there's sometimes when something happens to me, or when we talk about certain things, a memory comes back. I remember that I was down in a lake fishing, and I went to the water, to cool down a little bit, and then so I started walking around the bank area, and then so sure enough, I came out of the water, just about to come out of the water, and then I felt something. Something was not quite right. I had that real strong buzz feeling and everything like that type deal, and it was a totally different feeling, like more or less like a danger type feeling. It's real hard to describe right here. And then so the more that I got up and went closer to the stump, the stronger this feeling got. So the very first thing that came to my mind, hey, just don't get close to that stump. So I'm going, what? So I managed to pick up a stick and throw it towards the stump. And sure enough, here comes this big old head to a rattlesnake came out. So if I wasn't in tuned onto what, and if I wasn't in tuned, or again, they're the guardian angels or the guardians or whatever that you have with you, guarding you, protecting you, and saying, hey, don't go over here because there's danger here. So, I'm kind of glad I had that gift. So not too many people have it, but there's some people that do have it that really don't know how to work with it, or really know how to explain it. What's going on with me. So it's real good to be in tune with that.
Yeah. Here's a question that popped up on the chat. Um, I'll throw it up on the screen. I'm sure what AFK stands for, but do you believe in mind speak or telepathy?
Well, the thing is, there's sometimes, I believe that the spirits talk to us through the mind. I've actually had experiences where a certain type of telepathy, where there's sometimes that spirits talk to you through your head, through your mind and stuff, and then just and then through us, we talk to us, through our tongues, through our voices. That's the way that us humans communicate. but there are certain ways that the spirit can communicate to you is through your mind. And there's sometimes they can appear to you, and stuff, but there's sometimes I think they have their own certain way of communicating with you. There's sometimes even a whisper, probably will be right behind you, and then they'll tell you something or whisper something to you. But there's sometimes that a lot of the stuff is basically done through the mind. That's
yeah, the one thing I want to make mention to clarify for those who don't know, and as far as mind speak and telepathy, there's some people that may have that confused with being an empath. That is completely opposite. There's nothing to mind speak and telepathy has nothing to do with being an empath. Perhaps Marcella, maybe is that something you could clarify on that with because there, like I said, there's people that get that confused with it being an empath.
An empathic person is a person that feels emotions,
Right.
If there is a spirit, they feel what they feel, whether it be sadness, happy. They feel. They don't see or hear. They feel.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I posted a few days ago about how I find myself emotionally attached to things and people that I don't even know. And I'm not public about a lot of things, but I find myself really, like certain things I come across, even whether it be on social media, TV, or whatever, is like to some people, it's like if I share this with the wrong people, some people are like, oh, you're just a sissy, or whatever. It is I feel myself overwhelmed with feeling emotions, even if even if those emotions are happy or joyful feelings or sad emotions, over certain people's situations or losses or whatever it may be. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. But over the years, I've always had that. But in recent times, it feels like that those emotions, those feelings, have picked up and grown stronger. So a lot of people, responded to that. So it sounds like you're an empath. I said, I don't know if I am or not. I'm not going to claim either way, but those are feelings. Those are something things that happen to me. Where just all of a sudden it just hits you like you're part of that. If that
right.
makes any sense. So
Yeah.
but I find it
That
interesting.
that Scotty Wallman had. I like that question that he asked, and I got to tell you another thing that I'm glad that, and it brought back another memory. Many years ago when I was down in Virginia, I used to drive Isuzu pickup trucks, and so family member would sell them, and I would deliver them for them. And this one particular day, I was actually putting again out of the blue. I was putting diesel inside this truck. Close the door, and then all of a sudden, something tells me, "Hope you got a couple of dollars because some bum's going to ask you for a couple of dollars." And I'm going, what? And then by that time, here comes this guy knocking on my door, my window, and he has this golden bracelet with two lions' heads on it. I remember it like it was yesterday, and he was selling it for $2. So I went to my pocket, gave him $2. I said, "Here you go, dude." He goes, go ahead and have yourself something to drink or have some coffee or something this morning." On me. He goes, "You don't want the bracelet?" I said, "Nope, I don't want it." So, and that's why when they talk, that's how the spirit talks to you somehow. Even when you least expect it. God comes over there and probably this man needed desperately these $2. So here I am.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just a heads up, people in the live chat, if you have any last minute questions, we're approaching the last 5 minutes here. So if you guys have anything else you want to ask, please feel free to share now. As I've been doing, I did in the beginning of this podcast, I did a little while ago, and I will do it again. Just a reminder of our event coming up June 27th and June 28th. Anything you need to know is either on that flyer, or also check out the website. I have that broadcasting across the bottom of the screen, the VirginiaBigfootCon.com, as you see scrolling across the bottom. And again, that is happening at Wares Cave Community Center in Wares Cave, Virginia. Again, June 27th and 28th. So any information you need to know, check out the website. If you want to contact me for whatever reason, there is contact forms. It comes directly to my email. We still have a little bit of space left for vendors. So if you want to be a vendor, shoot me an email or contact me through the vendor contact form through the website. So, and the attendance and the reaction to this event is actually growing, and it's getting pretty strong. So we hope that you can come out there. And again, don't forget, you guys get to meet Sasquatch. Yep, come on out there. This guy here, he's a real good jazz player with a saxophone, so he will be there. Come on out there, meet him, get your picture taken with him. There will be other Bigfoots on site. Yes. Yeah. We got a team from South Carolina that put on the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. The whole team that was behind that is coming up to be a part of our event. Some of you guys may not know them, but Dale Glimpf and Kyle Brown from South Carolina. We got vendors coming from South Carolina as well. But Kyle Brown and Dale Glimpf from South Carolina, they'll be in charge of doing all the contests. We're going to be doing Bigfoot tree knocking contests, Bigfoot calling contests. We may add a little bit more in there because they also had down in South Carolina, they had the squatchiest looking person contest, which was very fun. A lot of people participated in that, even men and women. So it was a lot of fun. So I was actually part of that too. I didn't win because I had my beard. I thought for sure I was going to get some points on that, but I forgot who won. Someone with long hair and a beard won. I don't know. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys can come out there and be a part of that with us. So, there's Buck 9. He does have a question on here. This is interesting. Let's get his question up here. Oh, wrong one. I clicked on the wrong one. All right. Why are some Bigfoot flesh and blood? Oh, why did that disappear on me? All right. Why are some Bigfoot flesh and blood and then some are paranormal?
I don't think there are.
Yeah, I think he's asking this because I see a lot of his posts, and I know he believes Buck. I think I could speak for Buck on this. I know he believes they are flesh and blood, but he sees a lot of reactions to other people's posts, and I guess why do I don't know. Maybe he should have reworded this, but why do people believe that they are paranormal? I guess in other words, I mean. I personally believe they are flesh and blood because I haven't found no evidence to point otherwise. So,
well, I'll tell you like this: I personally believe that they are flesh and blood. And dealing with the paranormal, it's like us. When we die, we don't know what purgatory is. Maybe it's because I don't know. I'm just speaking hypothetically here. Maybe that we have to be here on Earth when we're spirits, and then when our time has come, we'll go up to heaven. Blah blah blah. I don't know. And then I believe when the Bigfoot dies, I don't know what happens to him. When he dies, and then so it's a Bigfoot spirit, running around the woods. I can't see that. I more believe that the Bigfoot is more flesh and blood than anything else, than anything dealing with the spirit.
Well, Scottish Wildman, thank you very much for that. This channel will be added to the best live Sasquatch streams on my channel. Enjoyed this session. Cheers, everyone.
Wow, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Wildman. Thank you. They used to call me Wildman when I was younger. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Scottish Wildman. That's a cool name though.
Excellent.
Nikki's still listening.
That's my sister from another mister.
She said, "I'm listening to you all while ordering dinner."
I'll be over there in a few minutes. I'm starving.
Paul Ernest. Yeah, I think he's asking for the hottest spot in Virginia. Hopefully see one. Well, if Paul Ernest, if you're in Virginia, be on the lookout for my posts and stuff. I try to post outings. There is certain hotspots where a lot of reports have been taking place in various areas. Well, I know my research area. I don't like to give out the exact location, but I will say this much: start exploring the George Washington National Forest. If you know the area, I mean, check it out. There's a lot of locations throughout the National Forest. If you don't know the area, hey, meet up with me. I don't know what part of Virginia you live in, but there's some hot spots here in Virginia. I will say that there is some hot spots. So, but yeah, I would definitely start checking out the National Forest or even part of the Shenandoah National Parks. There's been sightings and stuff along a good stretch of that. I've heard a few reports along there that's actually not far from where I live, just north of me and even south of me along the Parkway. So, yep. Let's see.
Okay, guys, I think I'm going to log off, but I want to thank you guys for having me. It's good seeing you both. And Daniel, we're going to come up as visitors to your con. We're looking forward to it.
Great.
Not a problem. Not a problem. If you decide you still want to set up, you're more than welcome to. You know that.
I'll let you know how it goes with all that teeth work I got to get done. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure
Baldemar,
you get
take care.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming along. It was fantastic. Good talking to you.
It's good talking to you too. You guys have a good night.
You too, and thank you again.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody that listened.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, for sure.
Kelly Ray Jones says, "Any hats, hoodies, or ECBO poster decals for sale, Dan?" I did have the event T-shirts for sale. They just ended, so but I know we will have shirts and apparel available at our event. So Paul Ernest, your name sounds awful familiar. That name sounds. I swear I went to school with a Paul Ernest. I'm pretty sure I did. Paul Ernest, did you go to Caroline High School? You sound familiar. Sound like somebody I went to school with. Because I got a couple. There's a couple of old schoolmates I went to school with that are actually not heavily into Bigfoot, but do believe in Bigfoot, and they find it pretty interesting. So, okay, you're not okay. No, huh? All right. Alrighty. We'll wait till Baldemar comes back, and then we're going to actually get ready to call it a night. So if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, please feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're viewing on Facebook, that's very cool. Check out our event page, our ECBO Virginia Bigfoot Con page, and again, check out the website. We encourage you all to come out there. It's going to be a great time. We got some great speakers lined up. I myself will be on the speaker roster, so definitely come check that out. And before we get off here, Baldemar, do you have any last minute words you want to share or say anything before we get off?
No, I mean, we it was a good night. We had a good talk, and we're gonna have that Bigfoot meeting / people talk about the encounters down in Normanna at the Normanna Fire Department on the 8th. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
And having Jenna there, and also some other researchers with me. And
that's gonna be awesome. Definitely make sure, you post some updates on that, and then
sure.
Yeah, you'll have to get your picture taken with Jenna. I got pictures taken with all the girls, so I get to see them again in June. Jenna won't be able to be there. It's just going to be Jen Cruz and their newest addition, Tammy. I got to meet Tammy at the last event. So yeah, Jen Cruz and Tammy will be there. Tammy, she now lives in North Carolina. I'm not sure. I'm assuming Jen Cruz is going to be driving all the way out from Minnesota by herself. So
Oh wow.
that's going to be a long drive, especially by yourself. So unless she decides to fly, I don't know how that's going to work on her end this time. So
Right.
I haven't talked to her on that yet. But
All right.
she usually drives in with the other two. So where they usually take turns driving. Yeah, it should be interesting. If things happen to change on your end, definitely let me know.
Sounds
You
good.
know, so if you can make it, that'd be great. But I
Yeah.
totally understand. I know you got a lot going on, so
Yeah.
but,
You got way too many irons in the fire.
yeah, I totally understand that. So, well, everybody, thank you guys again. It has been a great night, and we are out. So.